me as much as palming the basketball does. Are we calling this rule? Because if you're not calling it, then okay, I won't be there going, that's palming. He's carrying the ball. Nobody watches a basketball game with me because they're like, okay, tell
You're
me.
a screen yeller.
Yeah, tell me about the Jerry West days here. I mean, like, palming.
Imagine if Fritzy emailed the NBA this morning and said, we want to talk to the commissioner only about palming. He'd be like, he'll call right in.
Why don't they call traveling? Can you get back to us on that?
That's
Stop
it.
Calling it that.
That's all I want to know.
No other topics?
Yeah, that would be it for right now. That's more important to me than Chauncey Billups.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekdays 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. On Fox Sports Radio. It's Jason Smith.
Oh, you're that bloke on the radio.
It's Mike Harmon. Ta-da!
I'm kind of a big deal.
And they talk sports.
The one person that this playoff is not fun for is my wife.
Amongst other things.
I had an incredibly long dream about Jerry Jones last night.
Really?
Did I mention they're best friends?
You're hateful, and I'm positive.
It's the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Bang.
Weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. On Fox Sports Radio. Yeah! FS1.
Looking for the one, what you looking at the one?
To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details. FS1.
Looking for the one, what you looking at the one?
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
The Dodgers batting order for Game 5 of the World Series tonight against the Blue Jays looks a little different than it did in Game 4 against Toronto. Tonight, Mookie Betts drops a spot in the lineup. Will Smith will now bat second with Betts third. That means Freddie Freeman bats cleanup for L.A. Andy Pages is out of the lineup. Alex Call now into the starting lineup. Call will bat ninth and play left field. Kike Hernandez moves over to play center field. It's the Jays and Dodgers. Coverage on Fox, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Treya Savage against Blake Snell. LSU's Board of Governors and not AD Scott Woodward will hire LSU's next head football coach. That was the message today from Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. In the NFL, Lions and defensive end Aiden Hutchinson agreed on a 4-year extension worth $180 million. A full practice today for Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who's expected to start against the Lions in Week 9. Bryce Young on the practice field for the Panthers, while Bengals quarterback Joe Flacco 50-50 to face the Bears. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Good Wednesday afternoon. How are you, everybody? You doing all right? Here we go. You've made it. You've found it. You're on your drive home, I hope. And you've got us on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. The Nate Brown Show is back on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Let's get going tonight. It's always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. Hey, we got some Halloween graphics on the live stream. Look at that. We got some Halloween graphics because it is Halloween week. Halloween popping in on a Friday. Do we like that? Where we can let the kids go crazy. There's no school night or anything. I'm going to take the Friday night for Halloween. Little Halloween graphics, courtesy of Matt Kearney. What do I mention by that? That's on our live stream. Yes, you may be listening on Fox Sports Radio across the state. Our great affiliates, Fox Sports Rapid City, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Remember, you can stream us online at Nate Brown Show on Twitter. Watch the show live there at Nate Brown Show on Twitter, and also YouTube channel is up and running right now, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. One more place, Midwest Sports Plus, the new high school sports app, live streaming high school games across the board and live streaming this show every afternoon. It is Midwest Sports Plus. One more place you can find us. Okay, let's get it going on a high-energy Wednesday. What do we got popping? Yes, the Halloween graphics. You got to love that on the live stream. Welcome in there. And also a great guest lineup on this Wednesday. The Nate Brown Show bringing in Craig Maddock, East River meets West River, the weekly hitter with SDPB Sports, longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster Craig Maddock is on tonight. We will go to national NFL writer Frank Schwab, get his take on where we're at about midway point of the NFL season. Can you believe that? Frank Schwab's in yahoosports.com, NFL writer. Mike McFeely's on tap tonight from inforum.com, Fargo, North Dakota. We're going to get Mike's take. Can UND make a run here in the Missouri Valley? UND taking on USD. We'll talk UND, not just NDSU and SDSU. Mike McFeely's on from inforum.com, and the Huskers have USC. This is a bad one, I think. This is a dangerous one right here. Gary Sharp's on tonight. 1620 The Zone. He's on in Omaha. We'll talk Huskers, USC, and more. Wednesday's show is packed with a great guest lineup, 4 A-listers, and the Nate Brown Show bringing you on as well. You're the A-lister guest, right? 605-720-1067 is our number. 605-720-1067. Be a part of the show there. If you want to yell at Sports Talk Radio, you can find us. And it's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Remember that. Pizza Ranch at East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Pizza Ranch East in Sioux Falls. Also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City. That's our favorite buffet, your favorite buffet, your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Also, the Barron's Wilson text line open. Same number. If you can text the show, we'll read those, get those on the air. 605-720-1067. Same number there. That is the Barron's Wilson listener text line. All right, couple of things we want to get after here tonight to start the show. I never saw this one coming, but leave it to my friend Matt Kearney. He is the South Dakota Sports Researcher. He is the South Dakota Sports Researcher of the Year. Is that the award I'm going to give him this year? You had the South Dakota High School Soccer Advisory Committee today. So people are like, wait, soccer? What's going on here? Well, I wouldn't normally get into the weeds on soccer advisory meetings normally. I mean, I know my kids play soccer and stuff, but you can't just be a soccer fanatic, right? You can't just say, because I like soccer, you guys need to like soccer. I'm going to dig into the weeds on this meeting, though, today. South Dakota High School Activities Association has these advisory meetings with each sport, and these meetings go over what should we change? Should we look at this? Should we look at that? There's a couple of things there that came out of the soccer meeting today. And even if you're not a soccer dad or mom or soccer fanatic, this is what's happening now in South Dakota high school sports. Look at what happened today at the South Dakota Soccer Advisory Committee meeting. There was a proposal, which it is going to go further now. This is going to go to the athletic director's meeting to be discussed further. So it's not like they passed it or anything like that, but they're going to let it out of the advisory committee. They're going to send it to the AD meeting. There is a proposal in South Dakota high school soccer to do what? Can you guess? No, you can't guess. To add another class of South Dakota high school soccer. I can hear everybody. Okay, keep the car on the road tonight. We're not going to talk about football classifications too much tonight, are we? Football, not football. We're going to talk about soccer adding another class. And as I said, maybe you don't care about soccer. That's fine. The bigger point is, this is the type of stuff that's happening, and this is how the football thing got going back in the day. They said, the big schools are too good, and now we need another class. You guys know this. That's how this started, with the ESD having a hard time. The Hurons, the Mitchells, the Pierce, I mean, the list goes on. Watertown, Aberdeen Central. That's how that started. And eventually it got to a point where they voted and created another class of South Dakota high school football, which we have 7. That's another discussion here later on today. Let's stay dialed in. I'm not going to run through every single team. Some of you guys don't even know, hey, what is the layout of soccer? It's 2 classes, AA and A. And there's really not that many teams. Like Class A doesn't have that many teams at all. Class A really does not have that many girls and boys teams at all. it's mainly, it's pretty small schools. St. Thomas More, Vermilion, West Central, Belle Fourche, some of these. So, it's pretty small schools. There's a small soccer class. But the proposal today at the advisory committee for soccer says, well, Yankton, Brookings, Watertown, Spear, Mitchell, Spearfish, Sturgis, they should have their own class. They shouldn't have to play Harrisburg, who wins all the time, and Sioux Falls, Lincoln, and Rapid City, Stevens. And here we go again. I'm going to ask you, a new proposal today said, let's add a AAA class for soccer. Should this discussion continue? The point of the proposal, I'm reading it right now, it said the proposal would add AAA division just like football. The proposed teams would just be the top 9 or 10 schools based on student population, as they have more talent to pick from. And this is the misnomer again. This is the misrepresentation again. I've had this argument on this show for a long time now. Just because you have a big school does not mean all of those kids go out for soccer. So it's the same thing. They say, hey, Rapid City Central, biggest school in the state. You know how many boys play football? Hardly any. They've struggled with numbers like crazy. We know this. So this is, again, the bad argument that we use for football. Enrollment's the only thing that counts. It's the only thing that matters. And they're trying to do it today in soccer, a sport that doesn't have a ton of teams anyway. There's like just over 30 teams that play in the whole state. There's 30 teams that play in the whole state. And we need 3 classes instead of 2? I'm not going there. I can't go there. So this is the whole thing I keep on saying. Let's not base everything off enrollment. You just can't do that. Well, if you have a big school, you're going to be good. So then they say, Sioux Falls O'Gorman, they could be in the AA level, meaning they could be in the middle class. Sioux Falls O'Gorman. Well, I just saw the girls at Sioux Falls O'Gorman make the state championship match. You think they got to play in the big school class. Well, they're not a big school, so maybe we should let them play in the middle part. No. By the way, they don't want to. So how about that? They're looking for, that's how it started. This would allow a better balance of competition for some of the schools that doesn't have student numbers like the 9 to 10 biggest schools. I've got a better idea, and I'm serious about it. I would apply what I want to do for football to soccer. We don't need to create more classes. Football already went down that road, and now we can't go back. Football has 7 classes. You aren't going to go back. It's over. Now in soccer, hey, let's do a AAA and a AA and an A. Let's break up the 30 teams that play into 3 classes. It'd be 9 to 10 in AAA. And it would cost so much travel again for the teams out west. Rapid City Central and Stevens, they'd have to travel all the time because, well, they couldn't play too many teams that are down a division. And so we just put this into play, and we have to say, oh, it's going to balance it out. It's going to balance out the competition. Well, no, I know what balances it out. Let's see who actually has good soccer programs, good rosters, and let's use a formula that could work. Enrollment a factor, roster size, success factor, free and reduced lunch if you want to do that. That's the old formula. It's the formula I've talked about for 1 week now. Let's use this formula to fix football classifications and to stop trying to create another class in soccer just because some programs can't quite compete. Let's make sure that they're in the right class based on other things other than, well, we're a smaller school, so we can't compete. The Pier soccer program, the girls, they were in the semifinals, right? So you look at it, there's teams that were right in this mix. There's teams right in this mix. So It's not just because you're small you can't compete. So you tell me, would you even add that discussion? Would you even continue that discussion? High school soccer in South Dakota, proposal today at the advisory committee meeting to add a class and go AAA. That's all of the Metro essentially. And then, oh no, Aberdeen Central would be put up there. Oh no. Whoa. We got to be careful with this. Aberdeen Central, they're not going to want to be there in AAA, but I digress. Would you want to add the AAA class should the discussion continue? By the way, I'm here to tell you for South Dakota High School Soccer, they have 2 classes, AA and A. I told you about 30 teams total, talking girls and boys. Some smaller schools don't have a certain program. They have a girls team. They have a boys team. So there's just over 30 teams that compete statewide. We have 2 classes for those. It seems like it's okay. But now, instead of using a success factor of who has a good program or roster numbers of there's a ton of kids that come out, we just think enrollment at this school determines if you have a good soccer team again because we follow the same logic as we do for football. And if you can tell, it doesn't quite work. It is going to continue this discussion, by the way. They're going to go to the ADs whether we say it or not on the Nate Brown Show. Should the discussion continue? Well, I hate to break it to you. It's going to continue. It's going to be brought up at the athletic directors meeting coming up. Should they add a class for soccer? What say you? 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. 69% of the audience says no. Keep it AA and A. 69% no on the high school soccer going to 3 classes, adding AAA for the metro schools in Rapid City. 69% of you say no, keep it AA and A as it is now. 31% of you say yes, it's fine to look at. Let's go to the text line. People flying in with some insight in information. Listener text, I have 2 words, get good. Well, that's what they're trying to do. They think that they need to play teams that are closer in population. And see, and that's the thing. I'm consistent on this. I'm telling you, it's not all about enrollment. I didn't like creating all these classes in football. I wanted to create a better model with data that does factor in enrollment, but other factors. And so it's not like I'm sitting here saying, well, Rapid City, Stevens, and Central and Douglas, they could move down in football. I'm not asking for them to, I didn't ask for them to create a new class for them. I want a factor that looks at this soccer thing and says, hey, if you're Sturgis and if you're Spearfish, how is your soccer program? How does it look? Success factor over the years, roster size, and your enrollment. Can you compete with Sioux Falls, Washington, and Jefferson? It seems like they have. Seems like Sturgis and Spearfish have competed in certain aspects. It does to me. I watched some teams compete this year. So, listener text, Class A boys final in soccer, James Valley and Freeman Academy, Marion. Well, I don't know what you're pointing out there, but they would be in the lowest class. So like Class A would still have the smallest schools then. They'd have Class A would essentially be the same. What they're trying to do is get the Brookings, the Watertowns, the Mitchells, the Yanktons, the Sturgises, the Piers, the T areas. They're trying to get those middle AA programs another class. That's what it's trying to do today. Listener text, participation trophies with 10 school classes. Grew up in Minnesota, 64 schools per class. State championships don't mean much in South Dakota when only 10 teams are in the whole class. That's a good one. Listener text, I would be against this. No AAA soccer class. Listener text, I can't wait for a proposal to add a new class then in basketball and volleyball. Well, see, that's the thing. You keep on doing it, then you say, wait, we have 3 classes in basketball. That's a lot of teams per class. It's a lot of teams. Let's add another class. They've thought about it. People have thrown it out there. Then you'd have a AAA in basketball or like a Class C. Where would the state Class C tournament be? Aberdeen has the Bs. Where would the Class C one be? Chamberlain? I don't know. Puckwana? Not sure. All right. Mike McFeely coming up. Let's get going tonight. We'll get back to this. Would you want another class for soccer? I say no. There's only just over 30 teams total in the whole state. Only 30 teams total in the whole state playing soccer. We have 2 classes now. A proposal today said we need a third. I don't see it. Your answer on the text line, yay or nay to that discussion, 605-720-1067. Text us there. We come back with Mike McFeely, Inforum.com. A lot to discuss from the FCS. Is UND the real deal? Can USD get back in this thing? Coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Dynaglow vent-free infrared wall heaters are perfect for supplying indoor supplemental heating. They work with either liquid propane or natural gas and require no electricity to operate, making them perfect for garages, basements, and power outages. View our entire selection of Dynaglow heaters on Menards.com. Plus, you can check our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The new Mr. Liquor 2 in Rapid City is the only place in western South Dakota where you can order an ice-cold brew in their adjoining campfire bar and enjoy it while you shop. This month's specials include all flavors of Jim Beam Bourbon, $18.99 for a $7.50. Save $3 off all flavors of Bailey's Irish Cream, now only $29.49. Or choose Stella Rosa wines, now just $10.99. Price is good at both Mr. Liquor stores, off Catron Boulevard next to Walmart, or on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Highs around 55 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, south winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Mainly clear tonight, 36. Tomorrow, high of 55. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times and dry Friday and Saturday, upper 40s, Friday, upper 50s by Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 50.
Building your Black Hills dream? Builder's First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs has you covered. Top quality materials, product expertise, all your building needs in one place for materials and services. Just stop in or start at BLDR.com. That's BLDR.com. Builder's First Source. Build it.
Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is everywhere you need us to be. On the sidelines, supporting our local athletes, at our clinic locations throughout the region, and at our Ortho Express walk-in clinic when you don't have time to wait. We're here when you need us, working as a team to make your comeback stronger than ever. Getting stronger, getting better, getting you back to your best self. The life of an athlete has its uncertainties, wins and losses, injury and recovery. In the Black Hills area, athletes can always count on Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, here for whatever moves you.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Oh, good stuff tonight, huh? How you doing? Good? I hope so. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio across the state. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you making this show possible. You guys doing all right? Craig Maddox coming up tonight, SDPB. Craig Maddox on tap, longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster. Straight ahead with an East River meets West River hitter. Frank Schwab's on the way from Denver, national NFL writer based out of Denver, Yahoo Sports. We'll talk NFL. Are the Vikings in big trouble? Frank's in tonight. Let's go to Mike McFeely, columnist Inforum.com. He told me to start Carson Wentz. I mean, he was the one that told me this, so I guess the Vikings listened to him, and now look at what you've done, Mike.
I'm going to say that's what Kevin O'Connell did by not taking the poor sap out of the game. My goodness gracious!
All right,
goodness.
I set you up on that.
I want to. I think I've told you before. I'm not even a fan of Carson Wentz necessarily, but I mean, I was sitting there watching that, going, "Oh my, just take him out, throw in the towel."
And now he's out.
It was just sad.
He is out for sure. Okay, I won't go Vikings too much. I want to go college here and get your read on the SDSU game against North Dakota State. I said this North Dakota State team, to me, you've seen them more than me. I just said this team here is going to be a tough one to take down. I just admitted it. I looked at it. There's people in South Dakota keep saying, well, the Jacks are going to be different. They're going to have their QB. They're going to be different. Yeah, there's not a big gap. Is there a big gap or not?
Yeah, I think there is, even with Chase Mason starting. I think my take on this, when you had me on prior to the game, and what I told everybody else was North Dakota State is the better team. And I think it was in Fargo, I said 7 to 10 points. It might have been far more than that, obviously, but I thought down in Brookings it would just be a closer game, and I thought that the Jacks would be better on defense. But after seeing them in person, there are large gaps between these two teams. NDSU is faster. They have way more playmakers and skill guys. Their defensive line is better. I think their linebackers are better. Their offensive line is way better than South Dakota State's at this point. The running backs are better. And obviously the quarterback, even if Chase Mason is playing, that's not a one-for-one trade. The Chase Mason is not Cole Payton in the way he's playing. And if you remember, South Dakota State struggled offensively in almost every game one way or another. I happened to, last night, watch the replay of the South Dakota State-Youngstown game just because I wanted to see Youngstown State. I've heard so much about this Bo Brungard. I've seen him a little, but not a lot. But I would urge Jackrabbit fans to find a replay of that game and watch that first half. And that South Dakota State offense was awful in the first half against Youngstown State, and Chase Mason was not good. And even the announcer on that game was saying, well, I mean, wow, he's not really setting his feet properly. He's out of rhythm. Something just doesn't look right. And I'm not knocking the kid. I'm not ripping the kid. But, I mean, he necessarily wasn't playing great. The Jacks were winning because they're still good enough to win more than they lose, and they were 7-0. And I think their number 2 rating was deserved because we just maybe didn't know any better, but they just did not look good against the Bison. I think if even Chase Mason is healthy, the Bison win that game by multiple scores. And I've heard a lot of people say that. A lot of people that were very high in the Jackrabbits prior to the game, once they saw NDSU in person, they went, oh, okay, this is different. Bryce Lance is different. Cole Payton is different. This defense is different. And so I think even they are sort of on the bandwagon of, I just think NDSU is better this year.
So where do you see the Jacks, Mike? Where do you see them? Because now the discussion is, are they a top 3 national team still, and are they in the Missouri Valley the for sure number 2?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that they are either of those things that you mentioned, and in part because I don't think this quarterback thing is like a 1 or 2 week thing. I don't know anything. Let me make that clear. This is pure, just having been around for 100 years. But if it's Chase Mason's foot and not his ankle, I think that's two incredibly different things. I mean, I have been around NDSU long enough, and especially the last 2 or 3 years, there have been a number of NDSU players that have had foot injuries in various capacities, different things, the hairline fractures, the Liz Frank injuries, what's the thing that everybody gets? I've had it myself with the ligaments in the foot get sore.
Plantar fascia?
Yeah, plantar fasciitis, yep. If it's one of those things, which, it kind of appears that's what it is, even though I don't think anybody said that publicly. I am totally guessing. But if it's one of those things, I don't know that he's back in a game or 2 or 3 or the rest of the season. The feet are tough, man. You know that. Just from walking around, I know that, and try to play football with plantar fasciitis or a Liz Frank injury or something. I don't know that it can be done. All of that said, at this point, if I had to pick who's the better team, from what I've seen with my own 2 amateur eyes, I think UND is a better team right now than South Dakota State. And maybe it won't play out that way. They play at the end of the season. UND plays NDSU in a couple weeks. Maybe NDSU, steamrolls them like they steamrolled South Dakota State. I don't know that. But just looking at what they have, they just, to me, certainly offensively, are a better team than South Dakota State right now.
Mike McFeely joining us from Inforum.com, columnist here on the Nate Brown Show, talking FCS. You said at UND, so I wanted to get your take. What's USD going to see this week from a UND team now ranked number 8?
Yeah, they finally have a legit FCS, higher level quarterback after many years of kind of having guys that were okay, but not. You would never look at them and say, okay, that kid's going to lead them to, 2 or 3 playoff victories. Jerry Kaminsky has played very well this year. Sawyer Seidel, the running back, young guy, sophomore. He's more explosive and more dangerous than anybody South Dakota State has. Julius Loffridge has a bunch of yards. He's been fine, but Sawyer Seidel can get a crease and go 75 yards in a blink of an eye. They've brought a couple of transfers in at receiver to increase their speed there. Their offensive line is actually really good. It's an experienced unit that's played together for a couple of years now, I think. And defensively, I think that may be kind of where they might have some problems against really good teams because they were just god-awful last year. But the new head coach, Eric Schmidt's a defensive guru, and they're only allowing like 95 yards a game rushing. I mean, they've held rushing this kid Bo Brungard from Youngstown State. He's running wild against everybody, and I think UND held him to like 75 or 80 yards. And so they've done a good job. They're well coached. It just feels like it's kind of one of those, like they got the new coach in there. There's all kinds of new energy. He and the staff know what they're doing, and it just kind of feels like maybe there's something. I'm not going to say special brewing where they're going to win a national championship, but they're way better than they were a year ago.
Okay, 2 weeks. I mean, they play USD this week, and then UND hosting NDSU. How big can they win that game, UND?
I think so, and that's I was talking with a couple other people whose opinion I respect, and they I think they're in agreement with me that if there is an FCS team that's going to beat this NDSU team, especially on where it's going to be, which is in Grand Forks, Alara Center is a tough place to play. I think that UND game is the one that you have to look at and say, okay, if NDSU is going to lose this year, barring some major injury to Cole Payton or something, I think it might be the best chance is this UND team to beat them. They got things rolling right now. They have a ton of confidence, and I don't think that this new head coach Eric Schmidt, I don't think he's going to turn this game into like the biggest game in the history of the world, and it's the Bison and we're the UND team, and it's this major rivalry. It's really important. Don't get me wrong. It's a really important game to UND. It's important to NDSU. But I think in past years when this game was played, the players, the coaching staff, the school made it into the biggest game in the history of the world. And they beat them one time. They boat raced NDSU a couple of years ago, and then they lost the next game at Northern Iowa 27-0. I don't think that would happen this year if UND happens to win this game. I think they'll stay pretty focused. And Eric Schmidt has coached in the national championship game, not the FCS national championship game, the national championship game when he was on Washington staff with Kalen DeBoer, and they played Michigan, I think, in the national championship game. He was in that game. He's seen some big things, and I think that he'll have the team, his team, ready to play NDSU in a couple of weeks. And NDSU's got to beat Youngstown State first. I know people can chuckle at that, but they're coming off the SDSU game. They have UND next week, and I think Youngstown can do just enough offensively with this quarterback running to kind of maybe keep things interesting for a while.
Where is SDSU now after the big loss to NDSU? We're talking to Mike McFeely, Inforum.com, his coverage of the FCS there. NDSU, I saw, was now ranked number 30 in the Sagarin ratings. You know, the big mathematician guy, he said, if you look at it, overall college football, NDSU's a top 30 team right behind Clemson. Are we buying that?
Yeah, I think I've been around long enough to see, it's fairly accurate. SDSU in 23 was, I think they were in the top 25 in the Sagarin ratings. And North Dakota State's team in, I want to say 2013, I think they were like 17 or 18 that year. Doesn't mean that if they played in the Big Ten, they would win the Big Ten or anything like that, but they can compete against a lot of not just G5 teams, but certainly Power 4 teams as well. Are they 30th? Could they beat Clemson? I'll give them a one-game shot. I'd take my chances. I don't know that you could guarantee it, but I think it'd be a heck of a football game. What I've seen over the years with the Sagarin ratings is that, to me, it's the most accurate representation of where teams sit in the FCS. I don't know if NDSU is the 30th best overall college football team in the country, but when you match them up against other FCS teams and you look at where the other FCS teams are slotted in the Sagarin, and then they play the games and you kind of look at the results, you go, yeah, okay. Okay, that's about right. And that's how I view those, and so far they've been accurate. I think right now I'd have to put South Dakota State 5th or 6th. Even though I don't think right now they're close to North Dakota State, they're in that, UND, Tarleton,
Montana
area.
Okay.
I think, Montana. I think Montana State now is slightly better, even though SDSU beat them early in the year. And so I'm on board with SDSU still being a top 10 team. Maybe they just had a really bad night Saturday. That's possible. You lose your starting quarterback. The other kid clearly was not ready to go. He just couldn't handle it. And it's nothing against him. What redshirt freshman with zero experience could handle that atmosphere against that opponent. But maybe that put the Jacks in a funk. Maybe once they fell behind, it just got kind of desperate. But I just didn't like the way their defense looked. It's probably better than what I saw, but I just didn't like the way their defense looked. And I've said this before in this program, and I'll say it from every mountaintop until they plant me in the ground, Nate. FCS right now is just not very good. It just isn't. Look around. Look at some of the games every week in the Missouri Valley Conference, which is still the best conference because of the top end of it. But, man, you have, Murray State getting beat every week, 55 to something. You get Indiana State getting beat every week, 40 to something. You get Northern Iowa, which is just terrible these days. They're getting lit up every week by somebody, and there just isn't very many good games. The depth just isn't there in FCS like it used to be.
What did I see, Mike McFeely, before I let you run? 80,000 people tuned into ESPNU for the Dakota Marker. Is that a big swing and a miss?
Well, I'll say this, is that last year on ESPNU, SDSU and USD drew 38,000, but SDSU and NDSU last year on ESPN2 drew 174,000. And if you look at some of the numbers on ESPNU for some of the G5 games, even in that same time slot, the numbers are comparable, 75, 80,000 people. And so it sort of leads me to believe that it's maybe more the network that the games are on than maybe the opposition. But it certainly doesn't help when NDSU and SDSU are up against the World Series and, Alabama, South Carolina, or whatever the games were being played at night. It just makes it tough. But I would guess that both schools are disappointed in the first place that they were put on ESPNU instead of ESPN2, and then secondly that they drew an audience of only 80,000 people. The company for which I work, and I got into this last week when I was on your program, you asked me about that, the game being on ESPNU, and I said, you know what? It's actually kind of a slap in the face to the local broadcast partners like Forum Communications that I work for and Midco Sports based in Sioux Falls that this game is being put on ESPNU, because this could have been a very profitable game for Midco and Forum Communications because it's such a big deal in the region. And by going to ESPNU, we knew it wasn't going to get a huge audience. I think I told you like 150,000, I thought, and it was not even half that, or it was about half that. But there would have been 80,000 viewers if it was on WDAY TV in Fargo and KBMY TV in Minot, and then the Midco network in South Dakota and North Dakota as well. There would have been more than 80,000 people watching it on those networks, and so the viewership certainly wasn't where they needed it to be or wanted it to be. And then also the local broadcast partners. When local media are struggling in many ways, Nate, and you know this because you're in the business, these local companies kind of got hosed out of some money in this deal.
And by the way, the play-by-play guy on ESPNU only said San Diego State once. He only said it once, but he did actually say it. Whoops. All right, we all make mistakes.
It happens.
Mike McFeely in tonight, columnist in Forum.com for the coverage, talking FCS in the Missouri Valley. Mike, always appreciate it. Thanks.
I'm hitting the first tee there, buddy boy, so thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good luck. Good luck. I can't believe he's still playing golf north this time of year. You count your lucky stars. Mike McFeely's on tonight. Coming right back, we'll go NFL. National writer Frank Schwab on South Dakota Sports Talk Show next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
October is Renewal by Anderson's United Against Cancer campaign, and when Renewal offered to pay for employees' radon testing and mitigation, several Renewal team members found radon in their homes. Deb was one of them, and she always wondered how she got breast cancer. Radon causes cancer. It's linked to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Radon is a killer.
People don't know about radon. They don't know what a killer it is, and they don't know how cheap it is to have it tested.
From all of us at by Anderson, please get a radon test now. It could save your life.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside. You don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Hoop Fest, November 7th through the 9th at the Box Elder Event Center. 3 days of non-stop basketball action as teams battle it out for bragging rights and glory. Divisions for boys and girls, grades 5th through 10th. Bring your game, bring your team, and bring the energy. And when the game's over, celebrate with special Courtyard by Marriott room rates that include Waikiki Water Park passes for even more fun. Don't sit on the sidelines. Register your team today at thebox.live.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here this Wednesday. It's always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. Packed lineup tonight. Hang on for Gary Sharp. Coming up, talking Huskers. Huskers USC this week. That's big time. Gary Sharp coming up from 1620 The Zone, Omaha. Craig Maddox on as well. South Dakota Public Broadcasting, longtime sports broadcaster Craig Maddox on tap tonight. East River meets West River. A lot to cover on the Nate Brown Show. Let's go NFL. National writer for Yahoo Sports, Frank Schwab, back on the Pizza Ranch studio hotline. Frank, welcome in. How are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing good, man. Appreciate your time. I want to get into some stuff right away. Vikings fans up here are worried. I had a Vikings fan tell me last night, man, your show about the Vikings is a downer. Are they down? Are they out? Where are you at on the Vikings as they take on Detroit?
Yeah, it's tough to see a path now. I mean, you just look at the schedule. They're going to have to pull off some upsets to stay in the playoff race. You know, I mean, they're big underdogs against the Lions for a good reason. Lions coming off a bye, healthy. They're a very good football team. So if, you know, you assume they lose that game, all of a sudden it's like, okay, how are you getting back in this thing? You know, you got the uncertainty of J.J. McCarthy. You know, he's coming back, but we don't know how he's going to play. I just think everything looks bad for the Vikings right now. I had high hopes for them coming into the season. I didn't think last season was a fluke. The quarterback stuff didn't help them, and just other stuff has been off. Defense hasn't played as well as expected, and running game has just been so-so. And then the schedule is catching up to them now. So if I had to guess, I don't think the Vikings make the playoffs. And it stinks after such a great season last year.
Does anybody start questioning Kevin O'Connell? I had a Vikings writer on yesterday. He said, well, not like firing or anything, but he said this is really the first time O'Connell may be facing a little bit of heat and pressure.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, anytime a team has a losing season and fails to meet expectations, you do have some questions about the head coach. But I don't think this is all on him. I just think it just didn't go as expected, and that happens sometimes. I mean, why aren't we questioning, the front office for letting Sam Darnold go, who looks awesome in Seattle right now? There's other things involved in it. At the end of the day, Kevin O'Connell's a very, very good coach. He's just not having his best year. That does happen in the NFL once in a while. And the Vikings fans should be happy to have him. He's very good. But, yeah, anytime you have a season like this, you have to ask questions about the head coach and why it went so poorly after, winning 14 games last year.
Frank Schwab on tonight. Follow his work, yahoosports.com, national NFL writer on the Nate Brown Show. One more on the Vikings. I don't know if this is an internet rumor, Frank. Somebody else I saw throwing this out there was an NFL reporter. Vikings could think about Kirk Cousins. Is that out to lunch stuff?
I mean, if you didn't watch football last week, sure, I'm great. If you actually watched the Falcons play, you know that Kirk Cousins ain't saving anybody right now. I mean, I always thought of Kirk Cousins stuff was stupid anyway. Why? Why give up good, valuable resources for Kirk Cousins. There's a reason he was benched last year. He looked terrible on Sunday. It's just over for Kirk Cousins. People are going to speculate. That's what people do. It's let's try to match every single team that's not doing great at quarterback with every single other team's backup quarterback. When teams don't generally like trading their backup quarterback. It's just how it is. And in Cousins' case, he's just not bringing you any value. If they gave him away for a late round pick swap, I wouldn't take him because you got to pay a salary. And you'd be stunting J.J. McCarthy's development. It just would be absolutely positively nonsensical.
Frank Schwab on tonight. You're based out of Denver, so I got to get your read. Are you all in on the Broncos?
Yeah, absolutely I am. I was informed anyway. I'm higher on them in my power rankings than everybody else and have been for a while. I don't read other power rankings because I don't want to, let groupthink come in. But I was surprised to hear that because I look at the Broncos as being very, very close to being undefeated. And I know you can play that game both ways. They've won games that could have gone either way, obviously the Giants game being one of them. But a team that lost at Indianapolis, who has the best record in football, with no time left on the clock. A team that lost at the Chargers, who look like a playoff team with no time left on the clock. Those are only losses. It's a good football team. Your defense is elite. I think the offense will come around. I mean, they got a tough test on Sunday against Houston. That defense is nasty. But I think the Broncos are going to be in the AFC West race all year. And I have a lot of respect for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are a heck of a football team. I don't think the Broncos are that much worse, if they are at all. I think this is going to be a race. They play on Christmas. And I think that game in Week 17 there is going to decide who wins the division title. I think the Broncos are here to stay. Very, very good football team. Look, the offense doesn't look great the whole season. I get that. If there's anybody I'm going to trust to fix that offense, it's Sean Payton. I'll make that bet. I'll make that bet that by the end of the season, Sean Payton's going to have this offense humming again.
Okay, I want to get your take on the Browns. How do you think this is going to play out? What's going on with the Browns leaving Shedeur Sanders inactive, not even having him ready to play? Is he going to get a chance here anytime soon?
I think so. I mean, it would only make sense. Dillon Gabriel, you got to give Dillon Gabriel a little more time than fans want to give him. I mean, it's kind of weird to already be wanting to bench him, right? He had a couple of bad games. He's a rookie third-round pick. You're playing in some tough spots against some tough defenses. I get he did not look good on Sunday. What do you expect? He's a rookie. He played quarterback in the NFL. So I don't think it's going to happen within the next week or so, but yeah, by the end of the year, if Dillon Gabriel continues to be up and down, why not get a look at Shedeur Sanders? I always thought that could have been the plan to, give him 2-3 games at the end of the season just to see what he's got. Because why not? You drafted him. You have him. If Dillon Gabriel's not lighting the world on fire, you're going to be in a position next year in the draft where you're probably going to have a chance to take a quarterback. Don't you want to know what you got with Shedeur, with Dillon Gabriel, with anybody else? I don't think it's happening next week. I mean, the Shedeur thing is just wild to me. I've been covering the NFL a long time. And I've told you this. The only thing I can recall being like Shedeur Sanders is Tim Tebow, where nothing you say is extreme enough about Shedeur Sanders. If you say yeah, Shedeur Sanders was a fifth-round pick, maybe he shouldn't be starting, just because Dillon Gabriel had one bad game. Then the biggest hater in the world. And if you say, I kind of like Shedeur Sanders. I think he was great in college, and fifth-round pick was totally worth it. Then you're crazy because there's a reason he's stuck on the bench. It's just the extremes of the opinions of Shedeur Sanders and how quickly they come out. But the Browns signed up for this. The Browns knew this was coming, that every single time Dillon Gabriel had a bad series, there were going to be people online saying, "Oh, it's a conspiracy that Shedeur's not starting." Which is ridiculous, but it's just unlike anything I've ever seen before. The Shedeur mania is just off the charts crazy.
Do you think there's some inner politics there, though, with Stefanski and the Browns not picking Shedeur first and now having to go, well, we can't go to him, anytime soon? Is there some inner politics there?
There might be. I think Kevin Stefanski, and he can't come out and say this, but he's stuck in a position where he's got to justify all of this. He's got to answer the questions. And he doesn't want to deal with this. It's nonsense in some ways. Shedeur Sanders is a fifth-round pick. How many other coaches in history have had to answer questions every single week about a fifth-round pick at quarterback, a rookie? It's got to be kind of infuriating to him. He's just trying to win football games with the best product out there, and here everybody comes asking about Shedeur Sanders all the time. So I think part of it is just them trying to figure out how do we calm down the volume a little bit about this, because it's just oppressive at some points. Are there some politics involved? Maybe. I don't. It's hard to say. We haven't heard the full story of why they drafted Shedeur and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we can speculate all we want, but they did draft him, and now Kevin Stefanski's main job is just limiting the distraction, and that's got to be hard for him, because I'm sure you don't want to deal with that as an NFL head coach. But again, this is unlike anything we've ever seen before, from especially for a fifth-round rookie.
Game of the week: who you taking? Chiefs at Bills.
Great game. I've gone back and forth. I think this is a heck of a game. I'm going to go with the Bills. I think we've just kind of given up on the Bills too quickly. That's what we do. We cover the NFL and watch the NFL, and talk about the NFL, whoever it is. I'm not just talking about us in the media, but fans do it too, where it's 18 one-game seasons. And the Bills lost 2 games, and everybody forgot that they were Super Bowl favorites a month ago, that they were 4-0 and looking great, and they still have Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. And now you're at home. Yeah, the Chiefs are great. Like, that's a very, very good football team. I think the best team of football right now. But you're playing at Buffalo, highly motivated team, very good team. They've played the Chiefs tough for many, many years now. Not always, but usually. I think the Bills win. I think the Bills just, in this spot at home, are in a good place. It's going to be a heck of a football game, though. Easily. After a bad week of football last week, Nate, let's be honest, last week was a terrible week of football in the NFL. But I'm excited for Bills-Chiefs, because that's going to be a heck of a football game.
We got Lions-Vikings. Vikings on life support, and Chiefs at Bills. YahooSports.com. National writer Frank Schwab tonight. Find him at Yahoo Schwab on X. Frank, I appreciate you. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Frank Schwab on South Dakota Sports Talk Show from YahooSports.com. National NFL writer in tonight. He is all in on my Broncos. He sounded like more of a Broncos supporter than me. That's scary. Frank, careful. Careful now. YahooSports.com. Frank Schwab in tonight. Let's come right back on the Nate Brown Show. We're just getting going on this Wednesday. If you're just tuning us in, I have a question of the day. If you missed the opening part of the show, South Dakota high school sports trying to add another class potentially to this sport. Not football. Hang on, keep the car straight on the road. It is another sport that's thinking about adding another class. We'll get into that. And this show was mentioned in an East River newspaper column. That's amazing. Coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
October is Renewal by Anderson's United Against Cancer campaign, and when Renewal offered to pay for employees' radon testing and mitigation, several Renewal team members found radon in their homes. Deb was one of them, and she always wondered how she got breast cancer. Radon causes cancer. It's linked to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Radon is a killer.
People don't know about radon. They don't know what a killer it is, and they don't know how cheap it is to have it tested.
From all of us at Renewal by Anderson, please get a radon test now. It could save your life.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger?
Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for being here. The Nate Brown Show is live on Fox Sports Radio across the state, KWSN Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Thanks for being a part of the program. Gary Sharp's coming up tonight. Huskers Talk with Gary Sharp from Omaha, 1620 The Zone, his show on every morning. Gary's great. It's coming up. Huskers USC. I don't like that. That was one of the losses I picked as the year before the year started. I don't see the Huskers doing this. Do you? We'll see. Gary Sharp coming up. Craig Maddox on tonight. Next, SDPB Sports. Craig's in. Well, this is interesting. So I'm on this quest. It's a real quest. It's not a fake quest. It's a real quest to change South Dakota high school football classification system to not just use enrollment. And I'm trying to, be measured here and do some smart stuff and use some other states' examples and stuff like this. And I have gotten some people's attention, including sports writer Tom Savage. You want to read this today? I just pulled this up. Tom Savage writes a column called Savage Words in the Brandon Valley Journal. Brandon Valley Journal. Check it out online, okay? He just wrote a piece and he was saying, Tom Savage has disagreed with me for a long time. He said maybe even years. That's kind of harsh, Tom. Come on. He said Nate Brown's been talking about changing the classification model for South Dakota high school football, and I've told him, I've thought he's wrong. Just get better. And he writes this piece. He says, all these blowout games, Pierre over Spearfish years ago, 103-0. St. Mary's just won a huge margin in their playoff game against Irene Wakanda. He said, all these teams that have lost like that, I would usually say just get better, Tom says. But he says, now Nate Brown has mentioned this new plan, and you could borrow it from Montana, how to classify football teams, not just based on enrollment, but a success factor of wins and losses over the years. A roster size average. How good is your roster? How big is your roster? And enrollment, also a piece of it. He said, this is the time I have changed my mind. Tom Savage, Brandon Valley Journal, a salute He writes, I was wrong. And he says at the end here, I want to make sure I have this right. He says, Nate Brown was right, or at least I think he is. Maybe Montana is right with the system they use. Well, okay, Tom, that was a strong finish. Strong finish. But we're there. The point is, we're all coming together. We're finally coming together to have a discussion on enrollment doesn't work anymore. Montana has a great system to look and bring in other elements to classify football teams like Douglas, like Central, like Stevens, other teams across other classes. And Tom Savage, the piece is out today. Read through it. He does a good job talking about his thought before to his thought now. And he doesn't just say, no, this is the way it's always been done and this is going to work. He at least gives me a little credit along with the idea from Montana. Good piece. Brandon Valley Journal. Tom Savage, good writer, just put up there. He said, I was wrong about South Dakota football. Montana might just have the formula for us to use. Coming right back on the Nate Brown Show in the second hour. Don't miss this. Halloween's coming up, right? So they're not going to be on the air Friday. Halloween's a Friday. So I thought, what are the top 3 scariest conversations to have in South Dakota sports? I might have just discussed one, but I've got my top 3 scariest conversations that make people lose their minds next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Football season is back, and no matter which home team you root for, there's one thing everyone in the Midwest can agree on. If you're tailgating or grilling at home, nothing beats a freshly baked Village Hearth bun. An old-fashioned hot dog bun is the perfect accompaniment for a brat or a hot dog and all the toppings your little heart desires. And for the best burgers, you just can't beat the Village Hearth Classic Bun. So head to the store and pick up some Village Hearth buns. The weekend is almost here.
Mom, can we please go to Waitiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Waitiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Waitiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WaitikiWaterPark.com.
The Model Year-End Clearance Event is happening right now at Spearfish GMC Cadillac. Drive home a Sierra 1500 with discounts up to $82.50 or choose 0% financing. Drive a Sierra HD starting at just $52,630 or the rugged GMC Canyon starting at just $47,115. Experience the all-new GMC Terrain, Acadia, and Yukon with more stock arriving daily. Don't wait, these deals won't last. Stop by today or visit us online at spearfishmotors.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Football is on, and your place for all the action is at the BetMGM Sportsbook in Tin Lizzie Gaming Resort.
And he's got a touchdown!
Don't miss a second of your favorite matchups with wall-to-wall television arrays and personalized audio technology.
Touchdown, Denver!
Now offering live betting so you can keep your luck rolling while the game is still going. Grab a lounge chair or pull up to a table and order off a full menu of food and drinks from Patty O'Neill's. BetMGM at Tin Lizzie is the #1 sportsbook in Deadwood, where it's always game on.
City driving might feel routine, but it's tough on your car. All those quick starts, hard stops, endless red lights, and long idle times. They wear things down fast. Brakes, fluids, engine components, they all take a beating. That's where Al's D&I Repair in Rapid City comes in. We handle the maintenance that keeps your vehicle ready for whatever the city throws at it. Al's D&I, fixing it right since 77. Check in at Al's D&I on Sturgis Road and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, we're ready to go. Second hour rolling already on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, brought to you in part by Black Hills Federal Credit Union. Literally my family's banking partner. It's been that way for a long time. I'm glad I switched from my last place. Become a member at Black Hills Federal Credit Union. Really easy. 18 locations from Custer to Sioux Falls. Go to bhfcu.com. From personal to business banking, vehicle loans, mobile banking. I can handle stuff right on my phone. For my teenage daughter, it's easy. The best in technology and convenience. Start at bhfcu.com. Black Hills Federal Credit Union with 4 locations in Sioux Falls and all throughout western South Dakota. The Nate Brown Show powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union this hour with Craig Maddock coming up. SDPB Sports live on the way. He'll join us talking South Dakota high school sports. Gary Sharp's on tap tonight. Huskers get set for USC, a big one. Gary Sharp live from Omaha. He's with 1620 The Zone. I do have the text line open for you, 605-720-1067. You want to be a part of the show, there you go. 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. Remember the Pizza Ranch Studio hotline. Same number. You can be a part of the conversation there. 605-720-1067. We're set there. I have a question of the day. Halloween's coming up. We got Friday activity going on. I'm handing out the big bars. Don't tell anybody where I live. I'm handing out the big bars. It was scary as I was walking through getting the big bars. I'm going, how much does this cost? Good luck, everybody. But we'll have a fun time Friday night, Halloween. And I thought, we're not on for Halloween. We're not on the show. So we better come up with a good topic here. What are the scariest South Dakota sports conversations to have? We have those on the show a lot. Scary conversations where people just lose their minds. And we were shooting it around in the office today. Matt Kearney, my producer here, we go through all the topics that we look at every year, and everything always pops up. And there is a solid top 3 scary conversations to have. So I thought we should have a little fun this week of Halloween. Scariest South Dakota sports conversations to have. I've got my top 3. My top 3. By the way, you tell me if I'm missing any. You can let me know. 605-720-1067. That's my text line, okay? You tell me what I'm missing, and I'll see if I want to add them. Top 3 scariest. Number 3. South Dakota State should move up to the FBS. A lot of people will look at you cross-eyed when you say that. Why would we want to go and play in a meaningless bowl game that nobody cares about? The FCS is not what the FCS used to be. I've been telling you this. I grew up an FCS guy. I had passionate FCS fans in Montana. The Grizz, the Bobcats. South Dakota State has won FCS titles. North Dakota State has won all these titles. I'm just telling you, it's time to be ready to jump to the FBS and be in the division that breaks off when these big power schools think they don't want anybody else to take their money anymore. They want it all for themselves. So South Dakota State should get ready to go to the FBS. That is a truth, but it's a scary story to tell because people will say you are crazy. We're not crazy. South Dakota State to the FBS. Careful when you start talking about that. Number 2. Moving the state bees from Aberdeen. Have you seen some of these scary movies where the axe, Jason chases you around? That's the people. Whenever you say something like that, there's a bunch of Jasons. They're coming for you. They don't let you get away with that. And I'm not fighting that battle. That's the battle where you get, like, have you seen Saw, where you got to cut off your own leg? That's you if you argue about the state bees in Aberdeen. You're toast. You're absolutely done. So I'm not doing that. I'll fight the jackrabbits to FBS battle. The state bees, stay in Aberdeen. Please, no, stay. I'm fine. We're good. Don't kill me. That's number 2. Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. Don't say the state bees could experience another arena. Don't do it. Last scary South Dakota sports conversation that we have this Halloween week, and it's something that comes around every year. Football classification talk. Whether it's 9-man classes, there's too many. Uh-oh. Who heard that? Somebody in Northeast South Dakota? There's too many 9-man classes. There's not a big enough gap between all of the schools to have 3 classes. We know it, but you better be careful talking that way. And then the 11-man classes, they screwed it up a long time ago. So, the ESD, it's a tale of old. There used to be another conference. There used to be schools that would actually win and compete, like Yankton. Wait, Yankton beat Sioux Falls? Yes. It's not just a Halloween legend. It is real. But no more. So don't get screwed up when you're talking football classes, because that will end badly. I'm just trying to find the solution. And I think I have it. I think we got it. What would you vote for, by the way? Scariest South Dakota sports conversation to have? Where people lose their minds. Football classes is number 1 for me. People lose their minds. 9-man, they say, no, we want to stay 9-man. Don't even bring up 6-man. That's a Matt Kearney film that hasn't been made yet. Speaking of a horror movie. Good Lord. Okay, we're out. Football classes, number 1. Don't move the bees from Aberdeen, number 2. And the Jacks should go to FBS. If I'm missing any... Oh, wait. An honorable mention. Scary conversation. We cannot ever let kids storm the court and celebrate their state championships. Somebody's going to get killed. Thanks. Back with Craig Maddock.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the 2nd leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Life changes fast. Starting a business, getting married, buying a house, growing your family. Have you taken steps to protect your family's financial future? Don't let life insurance be the thing that slides. It can help your family during difficult times. Lee Cruz with New York Life Insurance Company can help you get started. He's local and will help you find the right policy to fit your needs and budget. You can Google Lee Cruz New York Life or call 605-360-8804. That's Lee Cruz New York Life. Protect your family.
At Danny Mano Rushmore Honda, our buyback event was a huge success, and now we've got a lot full of fresh trades. Over 175 used SUVs available from Jeep, Honda, Ford, Nissan, Subaru, GMC, and more. Plus, the area's best selection of used Hondas and Honda certified pre-owned sport utilities. Get 0.99% APR on select certified pre-owned. Buy before the snow flies. See us at Danny Mano Rushmore Honda or RushmoreHonda.com. Like the finance contract is limited with qualified credit. Expires 11/3/25.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 36. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Highs around 53. Tomorrow, ample sunshine expected. Lows level off around 30 tomorrow night. Partly cloudy and dry Friday and Saturday, mid-40s. Friday, upper 50s by Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 50 degrees.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
At Highmark Credit Union, we believe banking should feel personal. That's why when you walk into our lobbies, you'll be greeted by real tellers and friendly staff, ready to help with your questions, big or small. And yes, we've got the latest technology too, for when you want quick and convenient service. The best part? You get to choose. Highmark Credit Union. Personal service backed by modern technology. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome back in. Hope you're having a good day. I didn't write any of that last segment down. Can you believe it's just random firings in my brain? Take it for what it's worth. It's entertainment value only, right? We got it covered. South Dakota sports. It's all in this brain. It's magic. My takes, whether they're right or not, we just go back to the archives and see what comes true. Scariest South Dakota sports stories to talk about on this Halloween week. That's my question of the day. People submitting some, so we're going to get to those in honor of Halloween this week. Scariest South Dakota sports conversations to have where people lose their minds. You tell me. I said football classification is number one. Is Craig ready to talk about that again? Craig Maddock is on tonight. SDPB Sports. Craig, how are you?
I'm doing good. Happy Halloween to you. And if I just had a portion of the stuff that's in your brain, I'd be a lot more successful. So
yeah, something like that.
About that.
Something like that. By the way, I'm going to get into some South Dakota high school sports stories here. I want to get your read on this, and this is a big one. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but South Dakota Soccer Advisory Committee today, whether people like soccer, don't know it, don't have kids playing it, this is a bigger thing of what South Dakota high school sports has done. The advisory committee today made a proposal. There was a proposal that came to them that said, we need to add a AAA class to South Dakota soccer. So there's just over 30 teams, Craig, total in the state. Just over 30 that have a soccer program. There's 2 classes now, AA and A. You cover it. Now they want a AAA. I don't see where this makes sense to me. would you continue the discussion?
And the AA would be made up of how many teams?
Well, they'd be about
Would
10
it be
and
based
10.
on enrollment?
Yes, just enrollment. Yep.
If you look at it, this year, of the 20 teams in AA, we'll start with the girls. Roosevelt and I believe Brandon Valley, bottom 6 in the class. Boys, AA, Roosevelt and Harrisburg, I believe, bottom 5 in the class. So what good would that be just to take the top 8 enrollment or 16 enrollment? I mean, I just don't think it would not benefit those that are at the lowest end of the spectrum right now in the class.
You know what this resembles, Craig? I'm looking at it.
I would say AAA football.
Yeah, there you go. And when that happened, it was the similar schools. I look at this AA proposed class where they would move some teams out of the big school class and create this new AA. Brookings, Yankton, Sturgis, Pierre, Spearfish, Watertown. Oh, that sounds like 11 AA football.
Mm-hmm. It all comes down to is how many teams in a class. I mean, like in, I believe, Minnesota, 9-man football, they got one class and they have like 60 teams.
Right.
In 9-man football. I think it's similar in a number of other states. And so it comes down to why are we adding another class? Well, the thought is all these schools that are at the bottom of the class year in and year out, they don't ever get a chance to get to the Dome. Well, add another class and they still are not going to get a chance, have a chance to get to the Dome. It's just the way the program is.
All right. That is going to move forward, by the way. The Soccer Advisory Committee, they didn't say yay or nay, but they did say they're going to move this to the Activities Director meeting. So this is going to be a discussion at the Activities Director's meeting coming up, adding a class.
Most likely you have 8 in AA and then like a dozen in Class A. Is that what they're thinking?
Well, it's got they'd have 10 in AAA, about 11 in AA, and then about 11 in A. So you'd really split it up across the board, as in, I just don't know if there's enough teams where you would have to do that. Because people complain, Craig, about, well, there's not enough teams in AAA football. It doesn't even feel like a real class. You know what people say.
Mm-hmm. The vote will go to the athletic directors, and if a majority of the ADs think that they have a chance to maybe getting to a state soccer final by doing that, they'll certainly vote for it.
I'll tell you, I don't see it. We'll see. It's going to go to the AD meetings. One more out of the soccer thing, because I mentioned it to you last week. The 3rd and 4th place in AA, 3rd and 4th place in AA was passed out of the advisory today. And you say?
Yeah. I'm surprised with that. And that's only AA. Why not Class A too? Or why aren't we doing for both classes? Is this just AA? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just AA. 3rd, 4th place match right before the state championship. And it sounds like you're not gonna broadcast that. You want me to step in for you?
Well, that's all up to my bosses. They tell me what to do. If it seems to me, and a lot of it has been, hey, since we're there anyway, we might as well do the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That came out of the advisory. We'll see what the ADs say about that. That would be AA soccer doing a 3rd, 4th place match to go along with the state championship. Craig Maddock is on tonight. Hey, I have to mention this, Craig. Brandon Valley Journal. Okay, I'm looking through it. There's a column in there today where Tom Savage has been listening to this program, sports writer, and he said, I've disagreed with Nate Brown about classification and teams. He said, just get better. And Tom has said today that he agrees we have to change the model of classification and use like a Montana model with enrollment, success factor, and roster size. Tom has changed. Have you?
Have I changed?
Yes.
We did for a while, 2 years maybe, we did the Class AA boys and girls basketball at the same time at the same arena. We thought that would be awesome. The coaches hated it. Fans didn't like it. And, we dropped it after a couple of years. I'm willing to take a look at this proposal, and, maybe we got to run it for a couple of years to see how it goes. Maybe, I said maybe. And see how it goes. I still want to see. I don't think being the size of your roster determines what classification that you're in, because I think it can be fixed by certain teams. I think
you do. Yeah. By the way,
I do.
By the way, Montana's executive director I had on last week. And I asked him that because they do that. I said, hey, has anybody cut players or manipulated the system to stay in a certain class so they didn't have to? And he said, not one. He said, nobody.
Yeah, there hasn't been any co-ops that have said, no, we're not going to co-op with a team so that we have to move up a class in football. That hasn't happened in South Dakota, has it?
Very interesting. Very interesting. You're ready tonight.
It's just a question. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Craig Maddock in tonight. Find him at SDPB Sports. So you would agree that players may get cut or the system might get manipulated if we had a roster size criteria?
There are schools that will not co-op with a neighboring school just because they would have to move up a division in football.
I know that. I do know that. All right, we'll see where this goes. Tom wrote the piece. Check it out.
He's a good guy. Tom Savage is a good guy.
All right. And now he says he thinks I might be right. He didn't totally say that. He thinks I might. And you just said, I think.
Come on, we're just a little slower over here on East River, okay? We are a little slower to understand your West River acumen.
Just waffling. Okay, last one. Playoffs are underway. Tomorrow, all the schools are in action. When you talk to people about the AAA class, Brandon Valley has had everybody's top of mind. They did lose. Some people thought, well, they weren't quite going 100% there.
That's correct.
Is Brandon Valley the team to beat, no doubt, or is Lincoln ready to roll?
I've got Brandon and Lincoln tied, and then Jefferson right behind them, and then O'Gorman right behind that. So that's where I'm sitting right now in the AA. I think it's going to be awesome. It wouldn't surprise me. It's a Jefferson-Lincoln semifinal. Could be maybe OG and Brandon Valley final or a semifinal. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that, and I really think we got some great. After these quarterfinals and the rest of the classes into the semis, I think we're going to have some dynamite semifinals in the next week.
Do we know who's going to win 11 AA? That class has been all over the map. I think Pierre's starting to turn a corner here.
Yeah, Pierre's there. For some reason, the Yankton Bucks in the back of my mind. They just one of those schools that always seem to, when the playoffs come, they kind of step it up. So I'm watching out for Yankton. Huron has played, I think, the best overall during the season, but they have stumbled a little bit. So we'll see what the Tigers do.
All right. Do you know what the scariest South Dakota sports conversation to have is, Craig Maddock? You've talked sports a long time, and when you had your show, you come on this show. What is the scariest conversation that you've had on a South Dakota sports story?
Well, several years ago, it certainly was SDSU moving to Division I athletics. That got to be pretty wild content and wild conversation. But then, eventually, what happened is I got a phone call from someone in Brookings who told me they should be in Division I because they have a Lowe's in Brookings. And so then that kind of finalized everything right there.
Well, I said Sioux Falls is better than any other city, too, because you have a Banana Republic. So it kind of it fits in that way, too. All right, buddy. Craig Maddock in tonight. Are you in trouble with your Vikings? Vikings-Lions coming up. Vikings lose. You're 3-5. Are you in trouble?
I think so. You know what? I'm okay with McCarthy. Let's get him back in there. I'm worried about the line in the defense. Oh, my gosh, what happened to this Mr. Magical Flores defense that the Vikings say they have? I mean, come on. You and I could run through that defense.
My goodness.
It's not good. Not good. Let's see what happens. It's still early. They're only like a game or so out of it. So let's see what happens. They got a tough schedule coming up.
This is the toughest week I've ever had with Vikings fans. I'm seeing them on the street. I'm talking to them on the show. You guys are down.
I have sharp objects by me, and I'm not worried about it.
It's not even winter yet in Minnesota or South Dakota, and you guys are already depressed. All right. Craig Maddock, I appreciate you. In Play is the podcast. Do we have a new one coming out?
We will the week of the state football championships. Former NFL player, and by the way, he was involved with the Minneapolis Miracle. So you'll hear that In Play interview coming up the week of the state football championships.
All right, just a few weeks out. Craig Maddock on tonight. Find him at SDPB Sports, his podcast. He's had some great ones this fall. In Play, SDPB Sports. Craig, I appreciate it. Thanks.
You too. Thanks.
See ya. Craig Maddock on tonight from Sioux Falls, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster. All right. Interesting stuff there. Coming right back with Gary Sharp, Huskers USC. You taking the Huskers? Gary Sharp, 1620 The Zone, live from Omaha. Straight ahead.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
October is Renewal by Anderson's United Against Cancer campaign, and when Renewal offered to pay for employees' radon testing and mitigation, several Renewal team members found radon in their homes. Deb was one of them, and she always wondered how she got breast cancer. Radon causes cancer. It's linked to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Radon is a killer.
People don't know about radon. They don't know what a killer it is, and they don't know how cheap it is to have it tested.
From all of us at Renewal by Anderson, please get a radon test now. It could save your life.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. If you missed parts of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're on all the platforms. So wherever you get your podcast, search The Nate Brown Show. And then you've got this show every day on demand. You can listen when you are available. The Nate Brown Show podcast. Download it wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We had Mike McFeely on tonight talking FCS from Inforum. Frank Schwab, NFL writer, Yahoo Sports. He has my Broncos ranked number 1 in his power rankings. Number 1. Frank, I didn't even know that when he came on the show. That's big time. Craig Maddock moments ago talking South Dakota sports. Now we go to Omaha. Let's go Huskers, USC. What are we thinking this weekend? Gary Sharp's in. 1620 The Zone out of Omaha. He's here on the Nate Brown Show. Gary, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Nate. We're thinking that it's football weather on Saturday night, and there's another big game in Lincoln.
Big one. Really big. So I'll just be honest. I went through the Husker schedule, and I've put wins and losses by each game. I've been right on so far. So far. This one, I put as an L. USC's favored in Nebraska, 6.5. How do you see this team right now, Nebraska?
It's kind of they're perfectly imperfect is the way I've described it on my show. They have some flaws. They look great for brief stretches, and then they disappear for a while, and then they found a way to win games that in the past they would lose. You could say that they've tricked some things off. Northwestern, they won 28-21, but it wasn't a 4-quarter effort. And I don't know, Nate, if they're capable of playing a full 4 quarters, a complete game on both sides of the ball. Their special teams have been magnificent, and that's really helped them in these games where they kind of mess around. But this is an interesting matchup because they're a 6.5-point dog at home. They haven't beaten, Nebraska has not beaten a ranked team in 9 years. It's 28 straight. Matt Rule has struggled against ranked teams. They lost earlier this year to Michigan. USC comes in ranked 23rd. People are questioning USC at 5-2. They're off a bye week after getting smacked by Notre Dame. There's a lot of intrigue in this game, and it kind of comes down. Kind of my listeners and what I feel is Nebraska has enough, but there's USC's strengths or Nebraska's weaknesses. But for Nebraska to be in this game, they got to make some plays. And then they've got to have those 3 or 4 times during a game, especially on the road where USC's road splits are completely different from what they are at home. They're a different team on the road. There's 3 or 4 plays where Lincoln Riley is going to make a play call, and it's going to open the door for the other team to come in like he did against Notre Dame.
Okay, were you surprised at the line here, actually? USC favored by 6.5 in Nebraska.
I thought it was actually a little bit lower.
Really?
I thought it might be 8 or 9
really?
In this game. Yeah, I think if you look at the things that USC does well, Nebraska doesn't do so well. And I worry about being able to run the football. Nebraska, the last 2 games, have given up 5.3 yards per carry to Minnesota Northwestern. USC against Michigan went smash-mouth football, and they ran it down the throats of Michigan. And if you can't stop the run, then you can't load the box, and then all of a sudden Maeva's throwing all over the place. Nebraska defensively is going to have to play their best game of the season, so there's a big deficiency there. But it also is one of those games, you know this, you follow Nebraska football, Nate. They need Dylan Raiola to be Dylan Raiola. They need him to make some plays where people watching on NBC Saturday night go, wow.
Gary Sharp on tonight, talking Huskers, USC, big one Saturday night, NBC 1620, The Zone. He's on every morning in Omaha. So I'm looking at Nebraska going, hey, they're having a good year. They're going to be a bowl team. Does that feel like lackluster? This is a team that hadn't made it for a long time, and I feel like, well, Nebraska's at that point now, and it feels like people are like, yeah, but. What do we say about that?
Yeah, but is a popular thing. I mean, they're 6-2, and you can't overlook that. And they're bowl eligible before Halloween, which, around here we got spoiled. But this is 2 straight years going to a bowl. We're past that now. Worry about how to get to 7, how to get to 8, maybe even get to 9. And also keep in mind that the Big Ten is still searching for that 4th playoff team. And it might be Iowa, but Iowa has Oregon next week. So this is kind of a playoff elimination game between Nebraska and USC. And even if Nebraska is 7-2 and you go, how are they? They're not well, you never know. But it's the dynamic of, okay, when is the bottom going to fall out? But I will tell you this, Nate. As bad as the effort was against Minnesota and got kicked by Minnesota, and it did not do well for the psyche around here, that Minnesota got crushed by Iowa. If they win on Saturday night, because they put a lot into this game, it's a blackout, they're wearing special uniforms, all black. They've asked the 90,000 people that usually wear red to the game to wear all black. I mean, they have gone all in. They're flying black flags atop the stadium with the red N on it. If they are able to win this football game, then you're like, whoa, here we go. We've climbed over the top. We've climbed over the mountain, and now we're starting to build. And then also, they got some momentum. And it probably erases what happened to Minnesota, because then you say, young team, second game, 6 days, trap game, Minnesota was up for it, Nebraska wasn't. We're okay, we're fine, we're good, we're 7-2. Dang, we could be 8-1. But I think anybody in the right mind would take 7-2 right now.
This one could be massive, I think, Gary. If you get a win over USC, and we're not talking like USC's the USC of old, but they're good, they're solid, massive if they get the win. Nebraska needs it. And you're saying it keeps them in the hunt for a college football playoff.
Well, because you're probably going to get a 4th team from the Big Ten, and you just hang around long enough. Now, you might be in the playoff as a 12 seed, and if Nebraska wins on Saturday night, I'll be curious on Tuesday where they are in the college football playoff poll. I would think they're still like 22nd, 23rd, but maybe you get some help. The schedule has UCLA, Penn State, and then Iowa in Lincoln at the end of the month of November on Black Friday. If Iowa all of a sudden upsets Oregon and Iowa City next week, then they take care of USC. Iowa could come in highly ranked. I think they should be ranked right now. So Nebraska just needs to take care of business. They don't look like a playoff team. They definitely have some flaws, but it's one of those things, the benefit of being in the Big Ten, if you're the 4th best team in the Big Ten, you got a shot to be in the playoff.
How hot is the discussion around Matt Rule and Penn State still? What are we buzzing about there?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Nate, because I think you're going to hear probably tomorrow or Friday, you're going to hear a contract extension for Matt Rule at Nebraska.
I was wondering, is Nebraska going to go down that road, and you think that matters?
Well, I think contract extensions can be just a piece of paper. I'm more interested in what their financial investment is in the program.
Yeah.
I mean, Rule is well paid. I don't think outside of the obvious connection he was a candidate at Penn State. But he's smart. He used leverage. But it's also smart. Nebraska needs stability and the head coach. And they built the foundation. They just need to get wins now. So it's important to keep that moving forward and find some momentum. So it's the right thing to do. He's got a good relationship with the athletic director. But, it's one of those things that after the Minnesota game, people are like, hey, Penn State, you can have him. And then they beat Northwestern, and his name is still attached to Penn State. And people are like, I don't know. If he goes, let's see who's going to be the next guy. But I think here in the next couple of days, you'll hear some stuff about him staying at Nebraska. And it's good for Nebraska because they need stability at coach. Now what they need is wins.
Okay.
They built the core. They built the culture. They just need to win football games, and they don't have a lot of opportunities like Saturday night left on the schedule in 25 to get them.
What else does the program need? Rule gets money. He talked about real investment a couple of weeks ago. What does this program need?
Well, there is the investment of money because they got to go and buy players. They also need to figure out a way to fix their offensive line. Whether that be Donovan Raiola, who is the uncle of Dylan Raiola, they need to figure out the offensive line and get better there, develop depth, find guys that are NFL guys, find coaches that can coach that position to their strength. It's been a weakness, and in the Big Ten, you got to be strong on the lines. Nebraska's young on the defensive line, so I think they're going to be okay there. But the offensive line really has kind of held them back in terms of being consistent over the last few years. And then just they got to win. Their talent, they've had a huge upgrade in talent. They're not near where USC will bring in terms of talent, but their talent is better. They just need wins, and they got to find a way to get wins and get difference makers. But I think the investment in the program to go get players and be able to compete against the middle of the Big Ten and chase the Oregons and the Ohio States and the Indianas, I think is the next step that I'm looking to see.
Gary Sharp on tonight. Find him at 1620 The Zone. Great station out of Omaha. And the Gary Sharp pick for Saturday night is what?
Nebraska wins 34-31.
You have to say that, don't you?
Well, no, because I say it. I say it, and the big thing is Lincoln Riley and USC. Nate, you'll look at this. USC on the road is night and day, and they're 1-2 on the road this year. And the one game that they won, Purdue made it kind of tight. They haven't been good in the Big Ten on the road, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold, and I think Nebraska in a weird game will find a way to make one extra play. Special teams will be huge. USC is one of the worst teams in terms of kickoff return coverage. Nebraska has the number one kickoff return guy in America.
He's taken the Huskers 34-31. It's Gary Sharp on tonight. Find him on X. Follow him at Gary Sharp 1620. A big one Saturday night in Lincoln. Huskers USC coming up. Gary, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the week.
Hey, always appreciate the time, Nate.
Thanks a lot. Gary Sharp popping on tonight. Really good. Husker coverage from him out of Omaha. 1620 The Zone is the station. He's on every morning, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show across South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Am I going to flip? Am I going to flip to the Huskers? I picked USC at the start of the year. This was what I did, just went through the schedule. Start of the year. I said USC. I'm going to take USC there. I haven't been impressed. I watched them the Notre Dame game, watched the Illinois game with USC. I haven't been really impressed. A little soft. They're a little soft. Am I going to flip? Huskers got a shot. They got a shot. Coming right back. Who's hot and who's not? A big, big accomplishment out of a small town for high school football, West River. Coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Inheritance, romance, and investment scams continue to plague South Dakotans with high dollar amount losses. They prey on vulnerable adults and swindle consumers out of their funds. Scammers befriend the victim, making it difficult for them to see the reality of what's happening. If you have a loved one susceptible to this type of scam, sit down and talk with them about these issues before it happens to them. If you or a loved one have been scammed in this manner, please reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Mom, can we please go to Waitiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Waitiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Waitiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WaitikiWaterPark.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Attention sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street, featuring 4 full courts for basketball and volleyball. E3 Sports Complex is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Hey Black Hills, this is Scott Hanna. And this is Adam Ray, and we have a full-service mechanical repair shop, Gateway Tire and Alignment, right here, right now. We have top-of-the-line equipment with skilled, experienced, expert mechanics offering all services from oil changes starting at $49.95 to brakes, to free AC checks, diagnostics, engine work, even diesel. We can get you in now. No more waiting for weeks to get your car in for service. We're your one-stop shop for sales and service. Visit us at 123 Omaha or go to GatewayAutoplex.com to book your appointment. Gateway Sales and Service. I'm Scott Hanna. And I'm Adam Ray. And nobody, I mean nobody, beats a Gateway deal.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 36 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Highs around 53 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Lows level off around 30 tomorrow night. Partly cloudy and dry Friday and Saturday. Mid-40s Friday, upper 50s by Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 50 degrees.
Great news. I just got the State Farm personal price plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
All right, let's do this. Welcome back in. Busy Wednesday show tonight. Who's hot and who's not every night at this time. Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. 2 locations in Rapid City. Also, Pizza Ranch is at East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Pizza Ranch East and in Brandon as well. Stop by tonight. Home of everyone's favorite buffet. The Fun Zone Arcade's great. Take the kids, take the family. It's your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Best buffet in town, no doubt. In my Who's Hot category, let's go to the story that not enough people are covering. We have a South Dakota high school football record that was accomplished by the Hill City kicker. This is a great story. Was the soccer player, then it's like, hey, come and be a football player, be the kicker. This kid may be one of the best kickers in the state. He may be one of the best kids. Logan Street, remember the name, Logan Street. Hill City just hit a record 52-yard field goal. A record for 9-man football in the history of South Dakota high school football. Hill City kicker. And we were looking at his kicks that he made. 41-yarder, 42-yarder. I mean, this isn't like, he got lucky. This guy can kick. 52-yarder. Nobody's talking about it. Book it in our Who's Hot Tonight. Congrats, Hill City kicker Logan Street in our Who's Hot Tonight. Hill City playing Hamlin. Hill City and Hamlin. I got a listener text saying, Nate, who you taking earlier tonight? Hill City or Hamlin? Well, that's tomorrow. Brown's Best. I can't do it tonight. Brown's Best will make our picks tomorrow. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, the Twins are going to hire a new manager. Former Pittsburgh Pirates manager Derek Shelton. His record is 306 and 440. Wah, wah. Good hire. He wins a lot. See you back here tomorrow.
Fall is the best season, not just because football's back and my fantasy team's doing great.